What's up, you guys? We are back for Do That But Better. I'm Zach.
I'm Eric.
Eric, how have you been? It's been a minute.
I know. Yeah, we've been busy. Lots of school and soccer and all those things. I know
Awesome.
you've been super busy.
Yeah, everything's been crazy. Just well, and now this month, fall is a little bit crazy. Got three kids plus nephew that all have birthdays, so it's
Yep.
just like a crazy mess. And then we're working on moving into the new building. And on top of all of life's other things that are normally there.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit crazy. But yeah, and I feel like it gets tough, especially in the fall. Like now it's getting cold. It's getting dark. Even like my light just went off. It's getting dark early and it's staying dark later. And I feel like in the spring it's a lot easier to like start setting goals and start working. You're like, all right, summer's coming. I want to do all these things. And then it's like fall, it's like, I don't really want to do anything. It's you can almost think of it as the end of the year or like the end of a cycle.
Yep.
And it's very easy to number one, not start things, but also feel like I didn't get to where I wanted and I'm sort of done. I'm gonna wait till New Year.
Yeah. Feeling like you start to feel some burnout,
Hmm.
like you want to hibernate.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I've even heard a lot of people talking about that um, just recently. Like, just hey, it's harder to get to the gym. It's I don't want to go outside. You wake
Hmm.
up and it's cold and it's dark, and you're like, I could use a few more minutes. That was me just waking up.
You wake up like Popeye.
Yeah, I tried to. We have the same squinty eye.
And same spinach for breakfast.
Yep. I I'm pretty much there. I think I'm
Yep.
pretty much there.
Got an anchor on your arm.
That's right. But so it's funny. We just had a bunch of people. So number one, we had multiple people do a half marathon a few weeks ago, right? That they'd been training for, and we just had a few more do a full marathon. And like uh, the things that it takes to do something like that, you know, it it's a lot of hard work. And even the hard work going up there is hard, but also now that final day, and you start thinking about how maybe I didn't have enough training. Maybe I name your thing here.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Did I eat enough pasta the night
Right.
before? All these things, and you start looking at all these things, and you're like, you're trying to find all these reasons why you shouldn't be doing this, and
Yeah.
reasons that you should stop. And man, it was really cool listening to um, people talking about their mindset different um, in different legs of the races, where it's like, man, mile this just really got me, or the sun really came out and it was beating down, and it was just like, I don't know if I can do this, or I started to cramp, or all these things, and they pushed through, and they all finished. And it's cool because like when you look up the definition of determination, right? It's the ability to continue trying to do something even though it's very difficult, right? And
Yep.
I think that so often we're looking at things, and when people do hard stuff, they're like, well, it looks easy for them.
Hmm.
And
So actually, even that, like, okay, it looks easy for them. I I would change that definition because it says the ability to continue trying,
hmm,
and I think even within the word determination, I think it's the decision to continue trying.
yeah, screw Webster.
Yeah, because right, like everyone has the ability to continue doing it.
Mm,
Determination is when you determine, you choose, you decide to keep doing it. You decide to do it regardless of how hard it is or how long it takes. So
right.
I feel like it's less a unique ability and more of a decision.
Yeah, actually, I guess I would agree with you there. That man, there was actually recently we were skateboarding and we went to there was a skateboard or a skate park in the city, and it had a few bowls and like just some rounded out corners and things like that. And Shane tried it, and he came up with this idea that he wanted to ride up and around. There's there was a flat part that he would go over, right? And so it was like riding up around this thing, and he spent it had to be like 45 minutes and tried and tried and tried. And like he kept on like he would fail and he's like, "Oh, if I only just like did this like little thing, like I almost had
Hmm.
it." And actually there was a parent there that came up to me later. And they're like, his determination was like unreal. And it was really interesting seeing that, and I think that people get this with some things and then other things and like actually I guess what do you think um like spurs what we're able to just push through?
I think it is the value that you place on the result or like
Mm,
whatever you're working toward. So if you highly value landing that trick,
yeah,
then you're going to spend 45 minutes eating
yeah,
concrete to do it.
yeah.
And if you highly value being strong, you're going to wake up when the sun's getting lazy in the fall. That's what I tell myself. That's how I get up. I'm like, oh, the sun's getting lazy. I'm up.
That's
But like,
hilarious.
you know, when you when you value the thing, then you're going to do what it takes to get that thing.
Right. Now, do you feel that because I think that people will say like, "Hey, I really want this so bad," and then at the first, sign of adversity, it's like, "I can't do this." What's the difference between somebody um, decide like because it's in their head that
Hmm.
I need to do this, and actually you probably see this with nutrition all the time. You go,
Yep.
hey, I've got type 2 diabetes, or I'm a pre-diabetic. I have this, I have that, and I need to do this. And then it's
Hmm.
like the first sign of ice cream. It's like I had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think um, so. You have to value that result, and
Mhm.
you also have to acknowledge how much you value other things.
Mm, yeah,
So like, how much do you value staying in your warm blankets and sleeping an extra, whatever, 45 minutes?
yeah,
And, like if you don't take the time to think that through and think through, like, I say that I want this, do I want it more than this other thing?
mm,
If you don't acknowledge those, then when it shows up, like you haven't made that decision, you haven't made that determination yet
right.
of what you actually want and what you're willing to
Mm,
change or sacrifice for that thing.
yeah,
So really, again, like it comes down to decisions and determining what you want and what you are willing to give up for that thing or change. What the cost is that you are willing to pay.
yeah, yeah. That is sort of interesting. And like I also feel like when you are working towards um, these things, like whatever it is, you'll hit stumbling blocks, and I think that it's easy to jump off when you don't think that you're making progress,
Hmm.
right? And I think that defining what that even means can be really beneficial. I had somebody um, tell me recently that they felt like they had a bunch of issues going on with family. Like family was sick and like really sick. It was bad news, right? And they were coming in to work out every day, 5 a.m., right? And they're like, I just don't have the grit right now.
Hmm.
And it's like, you are coming in every day, even when you don't feel like it. And you're moving, right? And so say that I didn't hit a PR today, or I was modifying things that I normally don't, or maybe I was doing 3 rounds instead of 4, right? It's like you are still moving that needle, and
Yeah.
that is true grit and determination, and it shows up different in different times of life, and so sometimes it is gritting your teeth and pushing through. It's staying up late to study or whatever. But other times it's like, did I study the number of times that I wanted to this week,
Hmm.
even if it wasn't the best studying? Or did I exercise the amount of times that I wanted to? Or did I read the amount of pages? you know and actually, you know what, I was recently talking to one of my mentors, and they were talking about that they read, but they also have trouble reading. Like, it just doesn't stick as well and whatever, right? uh and that really resonated with me, because I read very slow. I have to reread things like 10,000 times. Like, I read 3 pages and then I have to go back and read them. But they said that they read 10 pages a day, and that's it. Now, it's funny because, a lot of times you go, well, but if you're really feeling good, then maybe you do more. And it's like, well, if my goal is to read 12 books a year, then 10 pages a day is what I need to do, right? It's about 300 pages per book, and you've got 12 months, 30 days a piece, and you've got 12 books in a year. And you could easily start going, well, I'm going to read a little bit here, but guess what? You might start dropping up. You're like, well, I already read a couple extra this time.
Right.
And so having that determination to go, hey, this is what I'm doing. You know, I also had it's like sometimes the opposite way. It's like, well, actually, like, sort of similar, not doing enough, right? You feel like you're not doing enough. And somebody I know, they were going to start exercising, and they're like, they wanted to start walking, right? And so they walked to the path, right? And I'll tell you what, like for me, it's like especially when it comes to exercise, I feel like I would say in my head that that's not enough.
Hmm.
But building that habit and going, hey, I'm going to do this, and this is part of the journey, and being okay with um, that this is where I'm at right now, and it's still part of that path.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing that Tuesday mornings because we just started a men's group that meets Tuesday mornings before work.
Okay.
So instead of the routine that I don't know, I typically prefer of like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday,
Hmm.
Tuesday mornings are a half-mile jog over to church and back.
Yeah.
And that's plenty. Like,
Right.
feels good because I've determined that that's what I'm going to value on Tuesday mornings.
Yeah. Now, yeah. Where do you feel that people um, really start to fall off the most when it comes to like getting to their goals?
I think it's, what we hit on earlier, which is obstacles, and specifically obstacles that you have not anticipated and thought about and planned for.
Mm.
Because again, like this all just comes down determining what you're going to do. That is determination, right? So thinking through, I tell clients this all the time. If they've got, a trip coming up
Yeah.
or weekend or whatever, an event, a party, like, okay, what are you going to do? What's your plan? Because then you can think through it. Going out to dinner with family, some
Hmm.
or friends, what's your plan? Because you can determine it ahead of time, and then that decision's already made. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it, right? So whether it's like going out to dinner and looking at the menu ahead of time and planning out what you're going to order and not wait for someone else to order something and be like, ooh, that sounds good. I'll just get that. Like have a plan. Think about it ahead of time when you're in a clear state of mind and not fly and not smelling the tray that's going past you and be like, ooh, you know,
Yeah.
like write in your notebook what workout you're going to do the next day and have your clothes already set out. Like it's in pen in my notebook. I'm not going to scratch it out.
Right.
It has a date, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You make that decision earlier.
And yeah, and that will make it easier. Now, I think the
Hmm.
funny thing is that, you know, easier is different than easy, because again, you
Yeah.
still have to stay on. And I think that it's really easy for me to think that when you do something, now all of a sudden things are just going to be uh, just, candy and rainbows, And actually, just recently, so we had redone the house, right? We redid did the dining room area and like all this stuff, right? And um and I felt like, all right, the house is done. And I was sadly mistaken. And uh so Nelly had been talking about, all right, I want to like redo this, and like, hey, I want to redo the kitchen, and I want to we need another bedroom for the kids, like all these things. And it was like, oh my goodness, I thought we just made this perfect, right? And it was funny, we were changing the doorknobs on like all the doors, just like little things.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, it number one is just like a little thing, but for some reason I thought that once we got to this thing we were done, right? And actually Natalie had even said, she's like, we're getting there, right? Because we had finished it, and I was like, man, this really looks good. I'm glad that we actually did it. And she's like, said we're getting there, and I was like, you know what, that is a lie. That's a total lie, right?
Hmm.
You don't get there. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You get there, and actually even just like the marathon, right? You get you get done with the marathon, and everybody goes, congratulations, you did fantastic. And the first thing you do is say, yeah, but at mile 22 I like did this, or I stopped for a picture, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, and actually I remember AJ Roberts talking about when he broke a squat world record, and he's like, it was great for about like 20 seconds, and then all of a sudden you start thinking, all right, now what, right?
Yeah.
Or could I have done more, right? And it's like, man, uh determination, you need to know that everything's always going to be hard. There's always going to be challenges, there's always going to be obstacles, and you just go, all right, I'm a great problem solver, and I'm going to be looking for my next problem that I need to solve.
Yeah. Yeah. And like where to go next.
Hmm.
I mean, really, that is determination. If you determine that you're a person who improves, right?
Yeah.
Then you're never going to be short on determination because you've already decided I'm a person who gets better.
Yeah.
So you just keep going,
Right.
right? And then, those hard days show up sometimes more often than not, probably most
Hmm.
of the time. I mean, it's never easy waking up early or, doing a workout or eating differently than the rest of the Western world,
Yeah.
right? But you decide that these things are important to you, more important than the easy path.
Right. I'll tell you what, I've been struggling with this today. We have Barbara. We're doing Barbara today. So 5 rounds of 20 pull-ups, 30 push-ups, 40 sit-ups, 50 squats with a 3-minute rest in between. And I know that I like to stay moving and be fit. And I also know that that's going to be hard. And actually, even just mentally recently, I think just uh, with trying to move the building and like running the gym and kids and everything else, I think it's just
Hmm.
been mentally exhausting to think to go to that pain cave,
Yep.
or even like for me right now, like even just like lifting really heavy. It's like, man, I'm going to lift something, but I don't know if I'm going to lift super heavy, or
Hmm.
at least, and I guess it comes down to for what I've done before, you know?
Right.
And it's like, man, I just need to keep going. And so I feel like right now, my determination is like, all right, I'm going to do this. How am I going to do it? And, knowing that it's enough, like, hey, I'm going to, so I've already determined that
Yep.
I'm not doing those numbers. you know, it's like, man, I'm going to get a great workout with less than what I've done before. And it's like, okay, because I've got to keep moving, and I can be pushing against the wall, but I'm still
Hmm.
moving, and it's like that's okay. I'm still working.
Yeah. And even to be able to say that, like you're in this phase, you're in this season of building project
Yeah,
that, like, okay, I've decided during this time I'm going to scale back my workouts so that I can put more into these other areas.
right. Yeah,
You've
420.
determined your future.
That's right. Yeah, fitness is important, and uh, it's still going to be there. And number 429 in the world, I mean, that's good enough, right? Not that I'm keeping track.
In your age group,
Right, in my age group.
to be clear. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a scale,
absolutely.
right? Games athletes, professional athletes are at a different point on the scale than small business owner, than soccer mom, than grandma.
Right. Yeah. So there we go. Determination. It's a decision.
Yep.
I like
Determine
that
your
idea.
future.
Yeah. Determine your future. I like that. I'm gonna write that down. That's gonna
You
be a
should.
that's gonna be a social media post.
Perfect.
That's two, Eric,
Yep, I know.
that
Yeah, I
I
was trying to
said.
remember what the one was that I said last time. That was really good.
I'm not gonna tell you because I thought of it and it's gonna go on my stuff. Yeah. So there we go. Determination. It's fall. It's time to keep moving. Find out what keep moving means, and know that it's okay. That enough is okay. And if you don't have a ton of motivation, it's like, all right, find what the motivation is going forward, but keep moving as you're planning.
Yep.
All
But if
right.
you want motivation, this time of year, I just tell myself, I'm outworking the sun.
There we go.
Seriously, I find it easier to get up when the sun, when it's darker, because I feel more BA.
I like it. There you go. Get up before the sun. That's the only way to
Yep.
do it. All right. We will see you guys again next time, Tuesdays, 11:30, for Do That But Better. Eric, I will see you later.
All right. See you guys.